on to a great researcher from the French Institute of Indology at Pondicherry. That institute itself is a great institute contributing a lot of research of original kind. And Ganeshanji is a very well established researcher there, and he has helped many Western Indologists also in their research. They take recourse to his institute for their original research, for resources, for manuscripts, everything. And he has contributed original research, particularly in the area of Shaiva Siddhanta and Shaivism. Now he is going to present about Shaiva religio-philosophy in some Upapuranas. Over to you, Ganeshan.
यस्याज्ञया स्रष्टा विरिञ्चिः पालको हरिः संहर्ता कालरुद्राख्यो नमस्तस्मै पिनाकिने. Dear friends and Sri Nagaraj Garu and others of the Indic Academy, I thank once again all of you for giving me an opportunity to share my views on the Puranas, especially on the Upapuranas. I have selected the Saura Purana for a brief presentation, which is not exhaustive. These Puranas, and especially the Upapuranas, require more and exploration, more study, both critical editions as well as comparative studies. So I mainly focus on the Saura Purana. Introduction. The Shaiva system from ancient times has been spreading the highest devotion to Shiva, the supreme god. Various acts of devotion such as the worship of Shiva, mostly the linga, meditation, repetition of the mantras, japa, of the Panchakshara, elucidation of the philosophical doctrines and the service in the Shiva temple along with the service to the devotees of Shiva are some of the basic and fundamental practices which are universally found common in different schools of Shaivism. Charya, Kriya, Yoga and Vidya. The Vedas comprising the doctrinal sections, the Upanishads, the Agamas that were revealed by Shiva to the gods and sages, and the Puranas all explain these points in varying proportions. These practices can roughly be grouped under Charya, Kriya, Yoga and Vidya sections. Importance of the Puranas. The Puranas are a huge body of literature that has recorded the Shaiva religious practices and doctrines with all their details, and in turn has been exerting great influence in molding the culture and the religious conducts of the followers of Shaivism from very ancient times. Upapuranas. These texts also deal with various legends and religious practices in a focused manner without the usual characteristics of the Mahapuranas such as Sarga, Pratisarga, Manvantara, description of the Manvantaras, etc. These Upapuranas mainly focus on the basic theme and give the cite various events and legends related to that. The Upapuranas have not been much explored and studied. My presentation, the Saura Purana, also called Aditya Purana, as well as a section of the Skanda Purana, namely the Shankara Samhita, are taken here for a brief study to highlight some salient features of them. Saura Purana. This text is in the form of an interlocution between Manu and Surya. It is divided into 69 adhyayas. The beginning section treats the all-pervasive nature of Shiva. I have mainly followed the Anandashrama edition. I think that is the only one available edition of the Saura Purana, Anandashrama Sanskrit series edition. The beginning section treats the all-pervasive nature of Shiva. It says Shiva pervades the entire universe as its inner self. He is the only inner self and there is none else. That is, nobody else has that supreme power to pervade everything. The supreme greatness of Shiva. Though unique, Shiva exists as everything and he is always accompanied by Uma, his supreme Shakti. He is the only creator and from him come out Brahma, Vishnu and other gods. Sayevatma Samastanam Bhutanam Manujadhipa Ekopi Bagudha Bhati Leelaya Kevala Shiva. In fact, all these gods are mere playing toys for Shiva. They are Kridanaka. Brahma Vishnuvadayo Deva Munayo Manavastatha Sarve Kridanakastasya Deva Devasya Shulinaha. Shiva and Shakti. Shiva is always accompanied by his supreme Shakti called Uma, who is also known as Girija, etc. The Saura Purana states that Maya is the power of Shiva and therefore Shakti and Maya are the same and Shiva is of the form of Maya. Abheda Shivayo Siddho Vanni Dahakayo Riva. Maya sa Parama Shaktihi Akshara Girija Vyaya. Maya Vishwatmako Rudraha Tadnyatva Hyamriti Bhaved. So Maya and Girija, Uma are common, similar words, denoting the same. Uniqueness of Shiva. There is no other supreme god than Mahadeva. The text very beautifully declares this view using interesting similes. It says, just as there are no hairs on the body of the tortoise, no horns on the hare's head, no sky flowers, so also there is none greater or superior to Hara. Nayatha Kurma Romani, Shringam na Shashamastake, Nayathasti Vyat Pushpam, Tatha Nasti Harat Param. Saura Purana and the Upanishads. The beginning parts of the Saura Purana are fully interspersed with the views of some of the greatest Shaiva Upanishads, such as the Shvetashvatara, Kaivalya, etc. The well-known Antaryami Brahmana section of the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad is very eloquently used with many phrases taken from that section. That is a paraphrase. Passages of the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, which is well-known, the Antaryami Brahmana, Yognau Tishtan Agnir Antaro Yam Agnir Naveda Yasya Agni Shariram Yogni Mantaro Yamayati Yeshata Atma Antaryam Yamritaha. Yontarikshe Tishtan Antariksha Dantaro Yam Antariksham Naveda Yasya Antarikshagum Shariram Yontariksham Antaro Yamayat Yeshata Atma Antaryam Yamritaha, so on so on. So these passages are paraphrased in the Saura Purana, second Adhyaya, from verse number 43 onwards. Prithiviyam tishtati vibhuhu, Prithivi veti naivatam, Rupancha Prithivi yasya, Bhumyatmane tasmai namaha. Apsu tishtati naivapaha, Tam viduhu parameshwara, Apo Rupancha yasyaiva, Namastasmai jalatmane. Yognau tishtat yameyatma, Natam veti kadachana, Agni Rupam bhavedyasya, Tasmai vanyatmane namaha. Tishtat Yajasram yo vayav, na vayurveti tam param, vayuryasya bhaved rupam, tasmai vayivatmane namaha, etc. Here, using the Antaryami Brahmana and Shiva's all-pervasive nature, the Ashtamurtitva, the Ashtamurti nature, Shiva's 8th form, is also stressed, is also inculcated. Then next comes the efficacy of Shiva Bhakti. Shiva is realized only through intense devotion, accompanied by knowledge, jnana. The text extols the greatness and efficacy of Shiva Bhakti, its essential role in securing dharma, artha, etc. Dharma, artha, kama, mokshana, prayane, karanam, param. Shiva Bhakti sada satyam, nanyat kinchana bhutale. Shiva Bhaktya dhanam, vidya, yashaha, shatrukshayasthatha, prapyate vijayas sarvam, satyametan, asamshayah, etc. Then Shiva Bhakti and the Shiva Dharma text. So I want to draw, highlight the parallel between the Shiva Bhakti, presentation of Shiva Bhakti, the views on Shiva Bhakti in the Saura Purana with the still unedited text of Shiva Dharma. The Shiva Dharma, an ancient text on Shaiva practices, also has a very few interesting passages defining bhakti toward the Shiva. It says, Mad Bhakta Jana Vatsalyam Pujayancha Anumodanam Swayam Abhyarchanam Chaiva Mamarthe cha Anga Cheshtanam Matkatha Shravane Bhaktihi Swara Netra Anga Vikriyah Mama Anusmaranam Nityam Yascha Mameyamopajivati. The Shiva Dharma, I will come to next one. Shiva Dharma. God Surya describes clearly the intricacies of Shiva Dharma. It is the greatest of all the means to attain Shiva. So here this is Shiva Dharma as a concept and Shiva Dharma as a text. Now Shiva Dharma as a aid, as a help to attain the highest good is presented by Surya, which are Dharma Bhagavidha Prokto Munibis Sattvadarshibhihi Tatra Akshaya Paro Dharma Shiva Dharma Sanatanaha Yapuna Shiva Dharmastu Sadhanam Apekshate. It goes like this. So Saura Purana and Shiva Dharma, as we have noted earlier, the Ashtavidha Bhakti presented in the Shiva Dharma is also found in the Saura Purana. Many of the words repeated the same way, even sometimes even verbatim. The Saura Purana Adhyaya, 11th Adhyaya, from verse number 16 to 19, repeats the same as found in the Shiva Dharma text. Bhakti Ashtavidha Skanda Sarva Shastrayushu Pathyate Mat Bhakta Jana Vatsalyam Pujayascha Anumodanam Swayam Abhyarchanam Bhaktya Mamarthe cha Anga Cheshtitam Matkatha Shravane Bhaktihi Swara Netranga Vikriya Mama Anusmaranam Nityam Yascha Mam Nopajivati. Bhakti Ashtavidha Hyesha Yasmil Leshopi Vartate Saviprendro Munihi Shriman Sayatihi Saja Panditaha, etc. So these words, these passages are also found in the Shiva Dharma with very slight variations. So Saura Purana also corroborates and paraphrases, or even in fact uses the same passages as found in the Shiva Dharma. Antiquity of the text of Shiva Dharma. Shiva Dharma is one of the earliest Shaiva texts which serve as the base for many later texts of Shaivism in its different sub-schools. Even the Shiva Bhakti towards Shiva is the most prominent and recurring theme in this text. It appears to be older than some of the Puranas, including the Vaishnava Bhagavata Purana. Many parallel passages are found in the Vayavi Samhita, the 7th and the last part of the Shiva Mahapurana. Now, coming back to Saura Purana and its presentation of Shiva Bhakti as the basic and supreme means. The Saura Purana clearly states that trying to be happy without intense devotion to Shiva is like trying to get milk from the protuberance in the neck of a goat. Shiva Bhakti Vrite Yastu Sukham Aptam Ihechati Ajagalastanadeva Sadugdham Patumichati. Then Shiva Bhakti saves all. The text goes to the extent of saying that even if a sinner committing many offenses remembers Shiva with devotion, he is saved. Kuruvandapi sadapapam sakradevarchayet shivam lipyate nasapapena yati maheshwaram padam esmaranti mahadevam yadi paparata api te vigneya mahatmana iti satyam bravimyaham. Yeah, this view is has a parallel in the Tevaram passages, the Shaiva Tamil devotional corpus. In the Tevaram songs of Tirunavukarashar, also known as Appar, who lived in the 6th century, we come across the same view. He says, even if one lives a wretched life, subsisting on cow's meat, but he is fully devoted to Shiva, then he himself is a god that one reveres. He says, Shankanidhi, Padumanidhi, Irandum Tandu, Taraniyodu, Van Ada Taruvarenum, Manguvara Varshalubam, Madipomallo, Ma Devarti Egandar Allarahil, Angamelam Kuraind, Alhutur Noyarai, A Urithu Tindru Udalum, Pulayarenum, Gangaivar Shalai Karandark, Anbarahil, Avargandir, Namanangum, Kadabudare. Then to Saura Purana, the 42nd Adhyaya describes the procedure of Shiva worship The entire rite almost resembles in a very brief manner that explained in the Shaiva Agamas and other ritual manuals. Then Uma Maheshwara Vrata, the 43rd Adhyaya describes the procedure of Uma Maheshwara Vrata. It mainly consists in worshipping an image of Uma Maheshwara made in gold or other metal. After that, the image is taken in procession accompanied by music to the temple of Shiva. Once the preceptor, Acharya and the devotee of Shiva are fed and presented with new clothes, etc. Close similarity with the Shiva Dharma again. The Uma Maheshwara Vrata is also described in the Shiva Dharma text. These passages describing the Uma Maheshwara Vrata found in the Saura Purana are closely parallel to those passages found in the Shiva Dharma text, 10th Adhyaya. Devotional acts. The 44th Adhyaya of the Saura Purana deals in detail with various devotional acts and services that one can perform inside the temple of Shiva. We get the corresponding fruit for each of the services. To give a brief list, one may construct a temple of Shiva in clay. One may construct temple in the shape called Kailasa or Meru or Mandara or Mahendragiri. He who does in this way reaches the abode of Shiva by the wish-fulfilling divine aeroplane, Vimana. More such devotional acts. Even if one restores a dilapidated mandapa or a Vimana or the main sanctum or the temple tower, Gopura, he gets unlimited fruits. Even if one performs all these or any one of these acts for the sake of his livelihood, Vrityartham, he will definitely go to the heavens along with his relatives. If one is not able to do all this and only cleans the temple precincts with a soft broom, all his wishes will surely be fulfilled. He gets the fruits equivalent to the performance of the Chandrayana Vrata. Acts of extreme devotion. So in the Saura Purana, we see some of these acts. It says, he who resides in the Shaiva holy place, Shiva Kshetra, without moving elsewhere till death, by chopping off his legs, definitely becomes united with Shiva. Atha Atma Charanau Chitva Shiva Kshetre Vasen Naraha Dehante Shiva Sayujyam Labhate Natra Samshaya. Further, he who dies in a Shaiva holy place without food gets united with Shiva, Shiva Sayujyam. He who offers his own body as an oblation in the fire kindled before Shiva after worshipping him attains to the state of Shiva. Shivasya Purato Vannim Samstapyabhyarchya Shankaram Yuhoyad Atmano Deham Yassa Yati Shivam Padam. Then the divine marriage of Shiva and Gauri is described in the from the 53rd to 61st Adhyaya. The Shiva Gauri Vivaha is described in the Saura Purana. Then greatness of Shiva Bhakta. After
Recently, are we coming
the greatness of
to the conclusion?
conclusion
Are we coming close to the conclusion now?
in a few minutes, within 5 minutes. Okay.
Yeah, please.
Okay. Yes. The 64th Adhyaya again extols the greatness of devotion to Shiva and the devotees of Shiva. Shiva Bhakti is so great that a person with the highest devotion to Shiva is not affected by greatest sins, Mahapataka. One gets the fruit of the Vedic sacrifice, Atiratra, by just seeing a Shiva Bhakta or by merely speaking with him. Darshana Shiva Bhaktanam Sakrit Sambhashanadapi Atiratrasya Yajnasya Phalam Bhavati Narada. Then Shiva Bhakta is superior to all. The text goes to the extent of saying that one should not look into the class of a Shiva Bhakta, whether he is a Brahmin or a Kshatriya or a Shudra or the lowest caste. He should be respected in any situation. One should not question his conduct or birth. The devotee of Shiva who has the holy Tripundra on his forehead should be worshipped. Shiva Bhakta Sada Pujyaha Sarvavasankatopiva Na Asya Acharam Pariksheta Na Kulam Na Vratam Tatha Tripundrankita Bhalena Pujya Evahi Narada. Then Shiva Bhaktas are beyond the control of Yama. The text declares that Yama is the controller for all creatures except for the Shiva Bhaktas. That means the devotees of Shiva are only under the protection of Shiva and no other lesser god can exercise their power over them. Here also we find a similar view in the Tevaram. of Tirunavakarashar. He boldly declares that he and the devotees of Shiva are the servant of none but Shiva, and they dare even Yama, the god of death. He claims that because of this, there is no fear or misery for them, and they live in happiness forever. So I have quoted the Devaram song, Namarkam Kudiyallom, etc. Then, greatness of the Panchakshara mantra. The 65th Adhyaya deals with the greatness and the supreme efficacy of the Panchakshara mantra, the fruits obtained by offering various flowers, fruits, and other substances to Shiva by reciting this mantra. Then, influence of Shiva Dharma and Saura Purana. So, many verses of the Saura Purana on this topic are very much similar to the 5th Adhyaya of the Shiva Dharma mentioned earlier. From all this, it is very much evident that Shiva Dharma as a text has exerted greatest influence in the formation of the some important sections of the Saura Purana. Then we come to the Skanda Purana. Skanda Purana, I am taking only the Shankara Samhita. The Skanda Purana is divided into Samhitas. Then there is also another Skanda Purana, a voluminous one, which has 7 divisions known as Khandas, Khandatmaka. The former text is widely prevalent and is being studied mostly in the southern part of our country, Bharata Desha. Then Sutta Samhita. The Sutta Samhita, one of the 6 books of the Skanda Purana dealing with the philosophy, mainly Shivadvaita, as a very scholarly commentary from the pen of Madhava Mantri, who lived in the 14th century. Many parts of the Skanda Purana are cited as authority by some of the commentators on the Shaiva Agamas and other related texts. Skanda Purana and the Kanda Purana. So the stories related to Skanda, his birth, his chivalrous battle with Taraka, alias Shura Padma, etc., had been adapted into Tamil verse, and it is called known as Kanda Puranam in the 15th century. Then Shankara Samhita. The Shankara Samhita is one of the 6 or even 7 books of the Skanda Purana. It has inner subdivisions such as Daksha Kanda, Upadesha Kanda, etc. Then coming to the Daksha Kanda. In the Daksha Kanda, there is a brief discussion between Brahma and Daksha. Daksha questions. Daksha asks Brahma, who is the supreme, asks Daksha's question, who is the supreme godhead capable of solely performing the creation, sustenance, etc. Then, who is the supreme light, Paranjyoti, existing as the inner witness in everything? Karta sarvasya jagata palako harakasthatha sarva jiveshu sarvatra sakshitvena vyavastitah. For which Brahma replies him, he who appeared as a huge column of fire before Vishnu and Brahma, who both were quarreling among themselves, overpowered by confusion, is that unique supreme Lord Parameshvara. He is the agent of all the worlds, especially both for me and Vishnu, etc. Then we get a parallel to the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, again the Antaryami Brahmana, as we have seen, Yogno Tishtan Agner Antaro Yamagnir Naveda Yamayasya Agni Sharidam, etc. The same view is repeated in the words of Brahma to Daksha. Shiva is the Antaryami of every being. To inculcate the view that Shiva exists as the innermost self of everything, Brahma continues and gives the example of fragrance pervading the entire flower, oil existing as the innermost essence of sesame, and the sound pervading the gong, ghanta. Pushpeshu gandhavajneyah tileshvapi tailavat ghantayam dhvanivad agnau prabhavat parameshwaraha. Echo of this view in Shivajnana Bodham of Vaikandar, the second sutra of the Shivajnana Bodham of Vaikandar, which is one of the basic texts of the Shaiva Siddhanta in Tamil Nadu, also reads as like this, which echoes the same view found in the answer of Brahma. Then Shiva exists in an inseparable relation. So this view is also explained in the Daksha Kanda. Shiva exists in an inseparable relation with the selves, just as the musical note and the music, the fruit and its sweetness. The Vedas do not say Shiva is one, but they state that Shiva is non-dual. So this view. Then Skanda Purana and Shivadvaita, the entire text of the Skanda Purana in all its different books is fully permeated with the Shaiva Siddhanta and Shivadvaita views. So to conclude, there are many more such great Shaiva philosophical views found scattered in some of the Puranas, which require a deep study and exploration. After Dr. R.C. Hazara had done some original research on these texts many decades ago, much remains to be unearthed from this huge literary corpus by undertaking intense and comparative studies. So with this, I conclude my brief presentation. I thank one and all and for the Indic Academy for giving me an opportunity to share these views. Thank you again. Shivam Bhuya.
Thank you very much, Ganeshanji. It was a great presentation. Some of these Puranas, Saura Purana particularly, is not very much known. It's interesting to see that a Purana which deals with Shiva, Advaita and Shaiva Siddhanta is not named after Shiva or Shiva Purana or something like that. It is named as Saura Purana, but the content inside is so much of Shaivism